Have you told people that you were a funeral director?
No, sir, I've not stated that, no.
How can you be so sure?
Just because in an aspect that I'm asked to serve, it is not in a funeral director capacity. That there would be no reason for me to have to explain that I'm a funeral director or I'm a licensed funeral director in order to be able to help and serve a family in the state of Ohio.
That was the defendant, Shawnte Hardin, on the stand yesterday saying he never presented himself as a funeral director. Hardin is back on the stand again today, but this time he faced cross-examination. Now, he's on trial for over 40 counts, which include abuse of a corpse and representation as a funeral director while unlicensed. Now, during cross-examination today, Assistant Attorney General Brad Tomorrow questioned Hardin about his reasoning for not taking action when the bodies were not being preserved.
The person that Mr. Herring testified, correct?
Yes, sir.
He testified that the body was not in good condition, correct?
He did.
He testified that, in fact, the body was leaking when you picked it up, correct?
That's what he said, yes, sir.
Mr. Herring testified that, in fact, the body was leaking so bad that before you took it, you had to go, you went and pinched the
plastic bag is above in the bag, yes, sir.
And drained out what was there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what he testified to was that the body was going to continue to leak, correct?
That's what he said, yes, sir.
Okay, and you took that body back to Columbus, correct?
Yes.
You put it into the room.
Yes, sir.
And when Marvin Johnson gets there, Marvin Johnson says there was leakage from that body as well as Miss Cooper's body, correct?
Yes,
so both bodies are testified as leaking at that time.
That's what his testimony said.
Now, you say you went in there, so when you went in on the 28th, you saw the leakage from Miss Cooper?
When I went on the 28th, saw leakage? 28th. There was no leakage from Miss Cooper.
Okay, despite what Marvin Johnson said?
Yeah, there was no leakage, not on the box, not on the floor.
So now Marvin Johnson's lying and you're telling the truth?
I'm not saying Marvin Johnson is lying. You asked me what I observed when I went in there.
So Marvin Johnson's mistaken because you saw no leakage?
You looked at the pictures.
So you saying Marvin Johnson's lying or mistaken because you claim to have not seen any leakage?
All I can do is tell you what Marvin Johnson said.
I'm saying what you're saying he's wrong because you said your testimony, your credibility is that you didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything.
Now with Mr. Podzik, well, going back to what Marvin Johnson identified, he said there was skin slippage from Miss Cooper, correct?
Mm-hmm, that's what he says.
And he said, let's see, discoloration, skin slippage, leakage, and I believe he said there was an odor of decomposition, correct?
That's what he says.
So at the time we're talking about, with Miss Cooper's body being there, even though she's been embalmed, there are visible signs of decomposition, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at no point in time do you take a step, such as refrigeration, to slow down that decomposition process, do you?
I did not take that step for her to be refrigerated.
And you couldn't do it in that building because there was no coolers, there was no refrigerating unit, there wasn't even air conditioning, isn't that correct?
There was air conditioning.
And it wasn't on, was it?
It was on.
It was on?
Yes, sir.
And yet the room was warm enough that the body's decomposing at that point, correct?
Well, I don't know if temperature is a total reactant to a body decomposing.
But both bodies are decomposing.
I think all bodies decompose.
And both of those bodies were decomposing.
They were.
And you took no steps to put them in a cooler of any kind, correct?
Well, I hadn't had a chance to take Mr. Podzik to the cooler yet. He's going to the, remember, now he's going to the funeral home, going into the cooler there. IB&U.
Now, IB&U had already, the imam from IB&U had already prohibited you from setting foot into the mosque, didn't he?
No, he did not.
According to Mr. Musa, he
said Abu Bakr.
Okay. He also, that the Ali Hassan said from IB&U, they've broken all ties with you, correct?
And what he said wasn't true.
All right, still with me, I have Krista Ramey. She's a trial attorney. And Krista, you know, I watched a lot of Shawnte Hardin's testimony, and I tell you what, he's a good talker.
He's a very good talker. I think he'd do better in front of a jury, though, because judges are going to see. You got to see through some of that. Right?
Yes, that was my next question. I was saying, did he make the right choice just going with a judge? Because his kind of slick talk might have worked better with a jury.
I think you're right. I mean, look, there's a lot of evidence in this case. This guy was definitely running a funeral home. He definitely was mishandling human remains. The evidence is pretty powerful, but I think that he's got some arguments, and he's kind of likable. Like, he's the kind of guy that he's like an uncle that you'd have a beer with. I mean, seems like a nice guy. And so he might come across more persuasive to a jury. A jury might think, well, wait a minute. They might believe some of his side of things more than, the prosecution's. And the prosecution is not landing any significant punches on him. He's just trying to get Mr. Hardin to say that other witnesses are lying, and that doesn't really, work very well in terms of cross-examination, in my humble opinion. So it is what it is. But I think that he should. A judge is probably a bad choice for him here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. This idea that you're trying to lock him into this idea that for him to admit that other people must be lying. I thought he handled it fairly well. I mean, basically saying, look, whatever they're saying. I'm just telling you what I observed. I think it's the right way to handle it. But how effective is that? The idea that you're trying to get him to admit that other people might be lying. I mean, part of the problem is, and you can't escape this. If I'm Shawnte Hardin, you can't escape it, is that a lot of other people would have to have been lying in order for him to get away with the things he's trying to get away with, and that's problematic regardless.
Yeah, it is. So if I were defending Mr. Hardin, you'd call it polarizing, so you're trying to polarize the case. You're trying to, convince the jury from the very beginning, from the time of your opening statement, is that this case is really about, the defense is going to, or the prosecution is going to come in and they're going to call my client a liar, and he's a liar. And, so you want to use those words as the defense attorney, just so you're softening that for the jury, here, this case, the judge. But there would have had to have been a pretty significant conspiracy of folks coming in and testifying under oath to facts that, it seems a little much to say that they are all lying and I'm telling the truth. And that's probably why he's not saying they're lying. He's just saying, they said what they said. Right. I'm saying what I saw.
Let me ask you this. There's a particular part of the case where he's charged with saying that he's licensed when he's not, or operating as a funeral director when he's actually not licensed. And a couple of people came in and testified. 3 or 4 said that he told them that he was a licensed director. Today on the stand, he said something interesting, and I wonder how the judge is going to sort through this. He said, I never said that to these people. The things that I'm offering them, I'm not required to be one. Why would I say it? Then he showed them a list of services that he gives to people where it states that he is not a licensed funeral director. I wonder how the judge is going to sort through that. Is he going to believe the people saying that he said it to them? Or with the evidence that he's presenting and his testimony on the stand, does he agree with this guy?
As a prosecutor, I would wonder if that, came through the evidence factory, and when those lists of services were actually, created, that states that he's not a licensed provider. But, all cynicism aside, that is some evidence. And I think that it's pretty powerful evidence if believed, because when someone is coming in, I can tell you, I just recently, we've all recently lost folks due to COVID, and I unfortunately did as well. And when I'm going in to talk to a funeral director about plans, the last thing I'm looking at is whether or not they're licensed. I'm just not even focused on that. So I think that they might have made assumptions that he was licensed, and maybe, based upon the nature of the business.
Absolutely, I agree. I think there might have been some assumptions made. I think that's a conclusion that would be fair for a jury if there was one, and certainly the judge, since he's acting as the jury in this case, to come to that. You go and you talk to someone, as you said, that you're not focused on whether someone's licensed or not, and you make that assumption. And with the parameters of the case, maybe you believe, yeah, well, maybe he did say it to me, and that's what you'll testify to. So he may find himself in a good position on some of the charges, certainly not all. All right, stand by. We're going to take a quick break. Now, when we come back, we're going to bring you more of Shawnte Hardin's testimony in the Phony funeral home murder trial on Court TV, but that's tomorrow. We're going to be going back out there live for that case.